Welcome everyone to Game 2 of the 2020 Bona Cup. Bona Commenter here with SB Unfurled, getting you ready for the 1977 NIT champions against the team of the future, the 2020-2021 St. Bonaventure Bonnies. What do you think about this matchup? Because we got one team with some players that we haven't even seen before.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this for several reasons, a lot of which we'll get into throughout the game. The top reason I'm excited, I think, is because we're going to get to hear a ton of hits from 1977. I played all those during the timeouts. It's going to be great. It's going to send us right back into those late 70s. I don't think anyone would argue that 77, the NIT champs, they went 23-6. They deserve, some might say they deserved a bye. I didn't think so, but they were as close as one could get. They are the 5 seed. And then other people say, hey, 2021 shouldn't even be in this thing because they haven't proven themselves yet. But they do have a lot of guys who have proved themselves, you know. Lofton, Oshun, Welch, Winston. A lot of these guys have proven themselves even on the big stage in the A10. So I think on paper, 2021 deserves to be in the field. They might even deserve to be higher in the field, but that's why we're playing the games. Don't get too caught up in the seeding. We're just bringing you guys interesting matchups. We're letting the players do the speaking. We're not controlling anything. So I think 2021 could make a run in this thing.
So who will be the key for 1977 to kind of handle either Kyle Lofton or Oshun?
Essie Hollis and Greg Sanders are two all-time greats from 1977. Essie Hollis is a 92 overall. He is one of our highest rated players. He averaged 22 points and 10 rebounds. Look for him to get on the boards, get some rebounds, score a lot of points. Greg Sanders, also up in the 90s. He's a 91. He also averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds. They also had Glenn Hagan. Jim Barron will be guarding Kyle Lofton most of the game. He is a 77, so a clear advantage for Lofton there, almost 10 points higher. Possibly even a full 10 points higher. So, but Hollis and Sanders are the go-to guys for 1977. Watch out, they're two all-time great Bona players.
Jim Barron, of course, will be coaching later on in this tournament for the 2000 squad.
Yeah, so we could have Jim Barron, the coach, coaching against his playing self. That is probably unlikely because both teams would have to get to the championship, and you know how tough that can be. Two seeds who are 5 and 6. 2000 is a 6 seed, so it probably won't happen, but it could. Jim Barron, though, he was a solid point guard, a good assist man, setting up Hollis, setting up Greg Sanders. The all-time leading scorer in Bona history we have on the court today, so. It'll be exciting to see the new guys, but 77 had some absolute studs.
Definitely, and Jim Barron will be coaching on Thursday for the 2000 squad against 1983. But let's get ready now to watch the 1977 NIT finalists, or NIT champions, take on the 2021 squad. Winner will play the 1961 team.
People did not like the 61 team getting only a 4 seed. A lot of people thought they could be a 2, definitely a 3. We can get into that during their game as well, but this one's all about, there you see Kyle Lofton, 2021 Bonnies, and there you see Jim Barron from the 1970s.
The high socks.
Yeah.
Look at those socks.
And the nice mustache. 2 point guards will be sporting some nice mustaches today.
I know we also have Mark Jones later on in the tournament with a nice stash, too, for 1983.
Absolutely.
So, here we are once again at Butler Gymnasium, built in 1918, now being utilized once again for the Bonaventure event of the century, the 2020 Bona Cup, as the 2021 squad, led by Oshun Oshunyi and Kyle Lofton, takes on the 1977 NIT champions with Greg Sanders and Essie Hollins.
There you see Greg Sanders. We'll hopefully get a shot of Essie Hollis here soon. It was good to see Oshun putting those foam rollers to use. So we use some of our budget to get these foam rollers and medicine balls in the Butler Gym.
And we'll have to see how he has handled his knee injury. We interviewed him on SB Unfurled and Friends last week, and it sounds like, he's been able to heal a little bit more from that knee injury. So let's see if his knee is at 100% in this one against the 1977 NIT champions. And we're underway. 21 wins the opening tip.
And Oshun will be matched up most of this game against Tim Waterman, another good big man, 6'9" for the 1977 team, averaged 5 points, 5 rebounds.
Jaron English in the corner now, and it is out of bounds. It'll be going to the Bonnies. Interestingly enough, most of these games might be either Bonnies. So we got to fix the camera there for a second. Most of these teams will be the Bonnies or the Brown Indians, and this is a matchup where we have Bonnies versus Brown Indians.
That's right. I think they changed their name in the early 90s. So
it was 1992 or 93, right around the era of the Bona Fanatic. Shout out to him if he's watching, as the 2021 squad gets on the board early. Bill Simmons is not joining us. He's happy to join us. We're happy to have him here if he does want to come for the later rounds. Hagan into the lane, and he will tie it up at 2.
Nice find there inside by Jim Barron, finding Glenn Hagan.
Early on, 2-2. Of course, if you can tell, there is no three-point line here. Missed shot by Justin Winston. Hollis with the board. The three-point tendencies have been turned down to 0 on both squads because this is 1977 rules and there was no three-point line. Would you want to explain how this process will work?
It's the only way we could have done it. We thought it would be unfair to have three-pointers for some of these older teams. Tendencies have been turned all the way down. So if you do see a 3, maybe it's at the end of a shot clock, but the success rate and tendencies have been turned down. We'll be seeing a lot of mid-range, a lot of inside game from these teams. They're going to have to adjust, and it's going to provide some interesting little changes for some of these games.
Lofton there missing the running layup, but he almost gets the strip. Waterman corrals it. Jim Barron now. Of course, ended up coaching Rhode Island and Canisius later on in his career after coaching at Bonaventure. So Shuni grabs the rebound.
Hagan got away with a walk there. Couldn't finish.
Welch, one of the Western New York natives, playing for the Bonnies now.
All-time leading scorer in Western New York.
Lofton running into the lane. Oh, no charge call on Waterman there. They're letting him play as Lofton sinks the runner.
The ref was staring up at the window during that charge. I don't know if you noticed that, so no wonder nothing was called.
Probably seeing some of those breezes that come in like they come in during the Hickey as Winston with the steal out in transition to English. And English uses the glass.
Jaron English, I think, was the surprise of last season. You didn't hear much about him going into the season. Ended up being a bona fide A-10 starter, playing 35 minutes a game in some instances. Just had a great season.
It's actually bona fide. Welch now out off of the rebound. Lofton up top. Gets a screen from Oshuni. Lofton into the lane once again, but this one does not fall. Waterman with the rebound. Kyle Lofton, a first-team All-A-10 player in 2020.
And I think Lofton's a guy who he won't be fazed too much by this not having a three-point line. He's not a very prolific three-point shooter. Loves that mid-range game that he's so great at and getting in and distributing. So I think 2021 could be a team that isn't too reliant on the 3. So they could maybe beat some of these teams that from older eras who played this kind of style.
Winston getting the screen from Oshuni. The 19-footer does not fall. Greg Sanders with the rebound. Sanders missed a short shot early on in the last possession. Essie Hollins. Over to Barron. 4 on the shot clock, winding down. Hagan. No good. Rebound for English. Offensive troubles for the 1977 squad, and not a surprise considering the 2020 most recent team had very good defense. English now with 6 on the shot clock. The little cut by Lofton into the lane, and a timeout for the 1977 squad, only shooting 1 for 6 early. A tough go of it early.
That was a great find there inside. A nice cut and dish. Great court awareness and vision from English to find Lofton inside. A nice start for 2021. And now we have some electric light orchestra.
And so the 1977 squad also has 2 players that averaged over 21 points, Hollis and Sanders.
Yes, 2 all-time greats. Like I said, Essie Hollis. He is our 4th highest rated player, tied with sophomore Bob Lanier. So he is an absolute stud. Lanier, Stith, Nicholson, then Hollis, and Greg Sanders at a 91, tied with Jalen Adams in 2018. So these guys are very good.
And we are started back up here, 8-2, 2021, out in front early. Sanders now, of course, 77, while they are the home team, have a little bit of a disadvantage because they had to travel through time, even though they didn't have to travel to the Butler Gym, as they make the shot there to cut it to 8-4.
Or is it 2021 traveling in time back to 1977 because they're the home team?
That is true. We have to ask Doc Brown about that. Strip there, Barron with the steal. Out to Hagan in transition, but O'Shun says no, even back in time. Welch into the lane. No good. Waterman with the board. Barron now. 10 on the shot clock for the Brown Indians. Of course, that name changed in 1992. Some people don't think it changed.
Mark Schmidt.
Brent Hagan makes it.
Schmidt was 14 years old in 1977. What do you think he was doing? He was a very good basketball player himself, probably. I wonder if he was on the varsity team, maybe dancing to some ABBA, starting to have crushes on the young ladies.
Oh, I'm sure he was all the rage at his junior prom, which would have been a couple years after that. 10-6 now. Kyle Lofton with another jumper there. He's getting out to a good early start. Sanders with the free throw line jumper, no good. Rebound for Oshunyi. Welch into the lane. Jumper from 12 feet goes as the 21 squad continues to hold this early lead. 13 minutes left in the first half.
We'll see if Sanders can get going here. Number 53. He scored 2,238 points in his career at St. Bona's, the most ever for a Bona player.
Lofton yet another jumper, but this one does not fall. Waterman getting out. But he is nearly stripped by Welch. Not so much, though. He corrals it back to Barron, but this time Lofton will take it.
Oh, he has his man.
Oshuni! Oshun, can you see? 14-6 and another timeout for the 77 squad as the NIT champions currently out to a large deficit early against the 21 squad. Of course, if you're just joining us, did not see yesterday's game, they are throwing t-shirts into a non-existent crowd. We are thinking they're trying to get it through one of the windows to hit the oratory.
A little Fleetwood Mac.
And we are back. Greg Sanders being held pretty quiet here early on, as the 21 squad hasn't had much of an issue adapting to the lack of a three-point line. It might actually be to their benefit because they went through stretches where they did not hit many threes at all last season.
That alley-oop, one of the best plays so far that we've seen. It's only been not even a game and a half, but Oshun with looked like his knee was pretty good there. Got up, had a reverse slam on an alley-oop from Lofton.
Well, even if you are very familiar with the newest team, you probably don't know this player. Jalen Shaw will be heading to the free throw line. He was fouled. He is a player who will be among the newest class that will be playing, hopefully, in November.
Yeah, Triton Community College just committed in the last couple of months, averaged 11 points, 7 rebounds there. Defensive force. He had 65 block shots that season, 11th among all junior college players. So having him and Oshun down low, there's a lot of people call him the SWAT team, I think.
Unfortunately, he misses both free throws for the 21 squad. So he'll have to work on his free throw game, at least to give him better ratings. Hagan over to Sanders.
Other new guys in there, Jalen Attaway, the Miami, Ohio transfer, and Alejandro back in with his new number 10. He took Bobby's number.
That number just changed last week. They switched numbers around a little bit as 77 gets on the board there. 14-8 now. Coming up on 11.5 to go in the first half. Shaw into Vasquez. Alejandro can't get it to fall. Rebound, though. Once again, misses.
Couple good looks there for Vasquez. Couldn't capitalize.
Hagan out in transition with the easy layup. I gotta say, it feels weird seeing Alejandro wearing the number 10 because we just saw in the last game when Jalen Adams wore number 10 back in 2016.
Yeah, and Adams in 2018 will have the same exact jersey, too. Oh, looked like Lofton got hurt there.
Little shaken up there, but he's jogging back now after the missed layup. Hollis into the lane. He'll score 6 points for Essie Hollis early on, 3 for 3, keeping the 77 squad in range. Shaw, another miss, a rough go of it for early on for the transfer out of community college. Hagan with a little jumper to tie it at 14 apiece. 6-0 run here for the 77 squad.
Glenn Hagan, an 85 overall, averaged 14 points that season. He is just a great role player for that 77 NIT championship team.
This is more familiar scenes that we saw sometimes out of the 2020 squad. A couple missed layups. Alejandro, another missed layup there. But 21 squad gets the ball back here as we come up on 12 seconds before our under 10 media timeout. Lofton setting up one final play. He'll get the screen from Shaw. Fires the deep shot. No good. And after one quarter, not a surprise here between the 77 NIT champions and the defensive-minded modern squad. 14-14. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We've seen Essie Hollis carrying the 77 squad back into this game after an early 6-point lead for the 21 squad. He has 6 points himself to tie it up here with 10 minutes left in the first half. Orzetta with some nice lettuce checking in for the 77 squad. Gotta say,
Delmar Harad in there too.
There are some interesting hairstyles out of the 70s and 80s teams that you'll see. Oh, Shuni on the fast break. Tries for the dunk, was a little bit altered, but still will find it a way to control himself in midair and lay it in. 16-14 as 21 regains the lead. Greg Sanders, who's been relatively quiet, will fire from near the elbow. No good, but Hollis tips it in. He has half of their points, 8 of 16 for the NIT champs.
Some might say that was a little lucky, but I don't know. He just went up and tipped that in. Didn't even look like he was looking at the hoop.
Lofton, the spin move, and it goes in. Lofton has had a really solid start. 10 points already, carrying the 21 squad. Sometimes Lofton won't score in a half, but will have a ton of assists. Sometimes he'll take over with the scoring, and clearly he's taking over the scoring so far.
Yeah, and with the backup point guard in there now, Urzeta for the 77 squad, he's going to have to attack even more. Barron on the bench right now. Let's see what he does here.
Lofton, another jumper, rims out, no good. Sanders now getting out and makes the layup. Back and forth here a little bit after the 21 squad controlled the early part of this first half. Lofton now over to Vasquez. Vasquez, one of several players from the tri-state area. He's actually from New York City. Oshuni and Lofton are from New Jersey. As is Winston, I believe, right?
Yes. A lot of guys from that area this year.
Several more players checking back in, including Jim Barron and Glenn Hagan for the 77 NIT champs.
Looks like their starting lineup's back in there. Tim Waterman as well. Jalen Adaway's still in for the Bonnies. He, from everything we have heard, is going to be a very good player, probably playing the 4 position like Planutis did. He's not, I think he's 6'5" maybe, but so athletic and play, they think, that power forward spot for stretches.
Jaron English with the missed layup there as Jim Barron kicks it back out to Hollis. Harrod into Waterman. And Attaway active there, but Waterman will corral it and lay it in as the 77 squad takes their first lead of the game.
Tim Waterman, just a solid inside presence. Only 6'9". He plays that 5 spot.
Nice. Waterman again with the nice rebound. Winner of this game will take on the 1961 squad, which made it to the Sweet 16. Waterman. A little bit of a mismatch there with Lofton on him. Over to Glenn Hagan. Glenn Hagan up and in. 4-point lead now for the 77 squad. 21 squad once led by 6. Now trailing by 4. A little bit of a 10-point advantage here taken by the 77 squad recently. As Lofton and Oshun try to make the pick and roll work. He'll have to fire the deep jumper, no good. Lofton struggling to get more open shots like he had, as the 21 squad hasn't made a shot in nearly 3 minutes. Hollis with his own rebound, but Oshuni, another big block for the big man. Vasquez out in transition, but he is tightly guarded. He'll get it back and now out to English. 10 on the shot clock. Oshuni now being double teamed, and Harrod with the steal. He jumps in the passing lane. Waterman up and in a nice transition play for the 77 squad. Looking to start pulling away here. Up 6 and a timeout for Coach Schmidt and the Modern Bonnies.
Quite a sequence there. Oshun on one end, rejected. Essie Hollis came back, turned it over. A nice steal by Delmar Harad. And then they got back in transition and scored. And a 6-point lead now in this low-scoring game. Seems almost like a 10-point lead, but if it's anything like yesterday, 2021, going to come back and make this, a back-and-forth affair. I think so far these teams, 15 minutes in, look pretty evenly matched. I think there are some mismatches, but overall, I think 2021 can hang in there, especially if they get Oshun involved here.
Yeah, and I think we saw a little bit of a defensive strategy by the 77 squad that we normally see out of these modern guys. They kind of hedged and double-teamed up top, forced a pass inside, and I believe it was Hagan who stepped in the passing lane and stole it. Creel, who was checked in for his, I believe that might be his first appearance, but it gets out, and Waterman will eventually get the rebound. Harrod into the lane. No good on the layup. English out in transition. It sits on the rim, no good. Hollis with the rebound.
Yeah, Eddie Creel, another addition to this Bona team this year. He's a 6'4" guard from Illinois, played at Moberly.
English now into the paint. Up again, S.E. Hollis, and he'll make it. Jared English with a tough shot there finally gets it to fall as the 21 squad is trying to find some more offense that can work, but they've been held relatively quiet in this second part of the first half as the 77 team calls a timeout.
Low scoring affairs so far, a lot of layups being missed. Teams don't look like they have quite settled in yet. Maybe it'll take a half for these teams to settle in. Probably shooting at a pretty low clip here. We'll see what kind of halftime adjustments there are made, if any. And, you know, without a three-point line, it's going to be a lower scoring game, but still some easy layups being missed here early.
Who do you think has a coaching advantage in this one?
I mean, you always have to say Schmidt. I think Mark Schmidt is the best coach we have had in this program, just based on what he's been able to do as far as not only wins, but recruiting and, you know, X's and O's. Jim Saddlin, a great coach. A lot of good coaches in this. You know, we'll get Weesey, Saddlin, Barron, Donovan.
Sanders now into the lane. No good. Tightly guarded by Shaw. And, oh, Sanders with a putback and a foul. And not only is that a foul, but that is the second foul on Oshunyi. Unfortunately, saw that a couple times in 2020 where he picked up a second foul in the first half that started to derail some things. We'll have to see if that's the case as Sanders looks to put the 77 squad up by 7 here.
Nice job by Sanders getting contact with the body there inside. Oshun's going to stay in this game. Schmidt keeping him in here.
He will stay in. Once again, we do have some college rules, and one of them is the 5-foul rule. So if he picks up 3 more, Oshun will have to sit out. Oshun with it up top, 7 to go on the shot clock. (27-22), 3:42 left to go here. Hollis with it. Being tightly guarded by Jaron English. Into the lane. Gets around. No good, but English will pick up his first foul.
That's his first personal foul.
Speaking of Jim Saddlin, the coach for the 1977 team, he played also on that 1968 team, so another coach who might be able to coach against his playing style. Played from 65 to 69. He was a coach for 9 years at St. Bonaventure, 155 and 93.
Hollis will make his first free throw.
Then he moved on to Duquesne, actually, and coached there for 7 or 8 years, until 89.
What's worse, coaching at Duquesne or coaching at Rhode Island?
I think Canisius is worse than all of them.
That's true, so I guess that would have to go to Jim Barron. I think Duquesne might be worse than coaching at Rhode Island, but yeah, the fact that he also coached at Canisius, that definitely wins out there. Hollis with the steal on Oshunyi, who Schmidt is still going with despite having 2 fouls.
Mismatch now, Oshunyi on Barron.
Yeah. Hagan being guarded by English. Gets into the lane. No good. Oshunyi picks it up after it's stripped. English trying to get out in transition with a step-back jumper. No good. Rebound by Hollis.
You take it to the rack there, English.
77 squad now starting to get a little bit more of a rebounding advantage. The 21 squad, led by 6, now trails by 7. Waterman with a little step-back jumper off the block. No good. Winston with the board. Winston being guarded by Barron. Rough shot there, but Oshun with a rebound. Put back. No good. Tight defense by Waterman after the offensive board. Hagan in transition. No good. Lofton this time with the board. Both teams starting to get out a little more. Trying to get this to be a faster-paced game, but Lofton can't make it. Neither team really making shots right now.
Teams have gone ice cold. A couple bad shots there, Waterman and Winston, but then also some layups getting missed.
Barron missed one right there as both teams are trying to pick up the pace, but they're also losing some of their ability to make the shot. And once again, the sideline or the baseline, because of that three-point line that's been extended, even though we don't have a three-point line in this one, once again catches a player as Jaron English steps out of bounds.
Remember that happening to Bobby Planutis last year a few times in that home Duquesne game. Not having court awareness. Schmidt's not going to like that turnover.
Not at all. Greg Sanders being guarded now by Welch. Sanders up and under. It does not fall on Welch with the board.
Good defense there by Welch.
Sanders has been relatively quiet. Only 5 points for the star for the 77 NIT champions. A couple steals back and forth here as we come up on nearly a minute left in the first half. Lofton tightly guarded. Waterman being very active, or Barron, sorry, as the 77 squad getting out in transition. Hagan no good. A lot of misses here.
Teams are still ice cold here. I think they're just gassed. They need a break. There haven't been many stops in play.
Winston no good, but Oshuni finally with a putback. We were stuck at 29-22 for a while, but the 21 squad has now cut it to 5.
These teams will take their halftime rest with joy. This has been a back-and-forth, high-paced game, but not as much scoring as we thought there might be with some of these high-powered scorers like Sanders out on the floor.
Herod being tightly guarded by Oshuni with a step back, and it works. It falls. 31-24, possibly the last possession here for the 21 squad as we are coming up on 16 seconds left in the first half. Lofton looking to set up one final play. Looking to get an off-ball screen there for English. The screen on Barron doesn't really work. Lofton has to heave from deep. No good. And it's probably best that it didn't go in because that probably would have counted as a three-pointer. But fortunately, we don't have to worry about that. But what the 21 squad has to worry about is a 7-point deficit going into the half. 31-24, the NIT champs lead the Modern squad. Of course, in our halftime show, if you're just joining us, if this is your first game of the Bona Cup, which is only a game and a half old, show you some of the highlights here and some of the stats and box scores for both teams. There's Lofton making a layup there.
And we have Come Sail Away by the Sticks. The hits from 1977 keep rolling.
It's just Sticks.
Sticks. I saw them in concert, actually, with Boston at the Seneca Allegheny Casino.
Oh, there you go.
10 years ago.
When was Seneca Allegheny built? Do you know?
Oh, man, it's probably 20 years ago at this point, 15, 20 years ago.
I'm just wondering how many of these players and how many of these kids knew when they were in college. They knew the casino, but I guess it would pretty much be everybody in the 21st century.
Absolutely. They have some good old timers like the Sticks in Boston. I saw Peter Frampton there as a young. I think I was still in high school, and there was some debauchery going on outside during the Frampton concert, and that I was exposed to.
Look at Essie Hollister, the double-double almost in the first half. 10 points, 9 boards. Jim Barron's been quiet.
Yeah, Jim Barron only 3 assists, no points, trying to distribute, but there haven't been many baskets so far. Lofton's taken 15 shots already.
Lofton has definitely been the key in this game for the 21 squad, as they're probably looking at a tougher matchup for Oshuni down low, and possibly a mismatch like you mentioned in the pregame show with Jim Barron. But Jim Barron has played some good defense early on.
Yeah, it's been a defensive battle so far for sure. Definitely some missed opportunities, but really good defense inside. I'm surprised that Greg Sanders hasn't really exploded yet. He's a guy I thought could maybe go for 30 points here, but 2021's done a great job holding him in check so far.
Not a surprise. This is really what we saw out of these guys last year, with a lot of defensive performances that kept the games pretty low scoring, but not a lot of shooting to be had, especially at the end of that, as the 21 squad was out to a 6-point lead early, but now trailed by 7.
Yeah, you see on the shot chart all the missed opportunities. Guys are really taking advantage of this no three-pointer and getting inside as close as they can. certainly changed the strategy here. 2021 only shooting 31%, 12 of 39. Not too bad, I guess, for 77, shooting 39%.
As you can see, only 2 3-pointers have been shot, and they were both heaves. Either one was at the end of the shot clock, the other was right at the end of the first half. No free throws made for the 21 squad. Jalen Shaw was the only one to get to the line, and he missed both.
Yeah, and I'm surprised at that because we are letting them play a little bit more, not as many fouls. We don't want you guys to have to sit through all these foul shots, but there was some good contact inside, I thought. Even Vasquez and Oshun. Surprised they've only had 2 free throws.
Looking also at the stats, the 21 squad actually did have an 8-point lead briefly, but now it's been a 15-point swing here since the first quarter, or the first part of the first half.
Mm-hmm. The rebounding has been pretty even, I would say. 8 offensive rebounds for 2021 is good, but 77, 10 assists on 14 field goals, just moving the ball pretty well. When they are scoring, it's been team basketball. Really spreading it around so far.
And of course, a typical Mark Schmidt performance with only using 1 timeout, even though he gets a couple more additional ones due to NBA rules.
I think they get 6 timeouts throughout the whole game, so we'll see if he saves those for the second half.
6 or 7. I think it's 7.
Could be 7. Either way, you saw a lot of back and forth action. Not too many substitutions. There's a couple.
It is 7. They did call 1 timeout. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how the second half goes.
So let's get started. I didn't realize that we had a trampoline for dunking in Butler Gymnasium built in 1918, but apparently we do, as the 77 NIT champions lead the Modern squad 31-24.
I threw that on that order form. It was within the budget, so I said, why not get a trampoline?
Probably had some extra money left over because we didn't have to stay a couple days in Brooklyn because the A10 tournament got canceled.
Absolutely. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's not going to be any fans in Butler Gym. Why are we putting on a halftime show?
I mean, there's not going to be any fans for any sporting events probably in 2020, so we might as well sell it.
The fans will pack the Armory, though, for our game.
That's true. We will have the next game will be in the Armory, and we have a big clash of different eras between the 1952 squad and the 2002 squad. So 50 years apart between those two teams.
50 years apart. The winner will get the 2018 team. I don't know how that's going to go because 1952, their biggest guy is I think 6'5" or 6'6". 2002, not a big inside presence, but we'll get into that. They do have Bremer and Green, so that should be an interesting matchup tomorrow.
Jaron English, sorry, who makes the first free throw there. Sorry, we just called the 2016 team yesterday. Told you that number 10 for Vasquez is throwing me off.
I thought you called him Jalen Adaway, not Jalen Adams, actually.
I don't know what I was calling him there. I wasn't calling the right name. Sorry, Jaron. Missed shot there as Oshun grabs another rebound. Justin Winston, who's had a pretty quiet game so far, makes his first shot to cut the lead to 4. First shot there, 1 for 6 early.
That little running jumper that we see him make, he's so good at that.
Hagan, though, with a little bit of a step back or fadeaway there, goes in. 33-27, winner plays the 1961 squad. Justin Winston, who's had a pretty quiet first half. He has 4 early points here.
Comes out hot. We didn't really hear his name much at all in the first half, and now he's got our first 4 for 2021.
Waterman being guarded by Oshun up top to Hollis. Over to Jim Barron. Of course, the coach of the 2000 squad that made the NCAA tournament, he gets fouled by Winston. That seems like something that was indicative of the season. A couple of great plays by Winston and then a rough stretch on defense there.
We've tried to make this as realistic as possible. Can't do as much about Mark Schmidt. They don't give us too many options for coaches if I had it my way, Schmidt would be pacing the sideline nonstop. But, you know, he's just been sitting there. We sedated Mark for this because he's coaching in so many games.
If you listen to our interview with Oshuni on the SB Unfurled and Friends podcast, go ahead and listen to it if you haven't. He talked about how some of the guys sometimes mess with Schmidt because it can be sometimes so great to make fun of his antics on the sideline. And Oshun said it was great to like make fun of how he's like always on one knee on the sidelines and just all of his antics.
You also see Steve Curran on the sideline there. I think the 2016 team had Dave Moore next to Schmidt.
Ooh, Lofton into the lane. Challenging Jim Barron. He'll make the layup and go to the line. Kyle Lofton with 10 points in the first half, but 5 of 15 shooting, not exactly the greatest of shooting performances. Not very efficient, but trying to power this team back into the lead.
Blew by Barron there, got the contact, and then can't finish it, but great play.
Can't finish the rare missed layup there for Lofton as Hollis gets into the lane, leaning on the finger roll, but it can't fall. Oshun with another board. Oshun gets the rebound once again, and again, but he's blocked. Essie Hollis, I think, got his hand in there.
I think it was.
Hagan tightly guarded on the shot by Winston, and once again we're starting to see a little bit of a colder stretch. And Jaron English, not Jalen Adams, makes the layup.
Looked like Adams there, though. Nice take and finish inside. A little contact, too, but no call. But a nice finish by English. Pulls this team within one.
34-33. 77 squad. Once led by 7. Now only leads by 1 as another miss there. Lofton looking to run a bit, and he finds a second lane, but he can't get it to fall on the layup. Waterman up against Oshun, has to kick it out over to Sanders. Sanders has had a little bit of a quieter game than you expect. Essie Hollis has been key for the NIT champs.
Yeah, I thought we'd hear Sanders' name a little bit more. There he is.
Well, you'll hear it right now. You'll hear it right now with a layup. He's got 7 on the night, but only 3 of 10 for shooting. So, like we said, it's been a quieter game for him so far. But who knows what could happen in the end. 36-33, NIT champs lead the Modern squad. 16 minutes to go. Jaron English rims out on the jumper. Rebound out to Hollis. He'll hit the baseline jumper. That one won't go. Probably should not have pulled up there. Might have had a little bit of space to lay it in.
He had a lot of room there. Could have taken it right to the basket. He stopped and pulled up there for some reason. Had a nice blow by there. You see that acceleration of Essie Hollis.
Of course, this 1977 squad the following year did make the NCAA tournament, as Hollis will pick up his first foul.
That's his first personal foul.
And Jaron English will go to the free throw line.
Taking 2 shots.
First one goes in.
Yeah, that 1978 team that you mentioned, they went 21-8. So great in their own right.
Hold on. We have a big development here. Kyle Lofton is sitting. Oh, my goodness. Kyle Lofton is sitting as a bit of a line change there for Coach Schmidt.
We stopped this tournament because now it's lost all credibility. Kyle Lofton has been seated. Oh, he's coming back in.
Now, laying up and in for Hagan. 38-34.
Sat down.
And yep, already, Oshun, Lofton, and Welch waiting to check back in. If you don't think this is realistic, I don't know what else we could do.
As I was saying, that 1978 team, so good. They did not have Essie Hollis, though. This was his senior year. Same with Jim Barron. So if we're doing, teams can only be at least 2 years apart. We had to choose one. This was the one we went with. That was our criteria. This one has Hollis, Barron, and Sanders. One of the most storied teams in program history, so we could not leave them out. But I think they're a great representation of the late 70s.
Nice behind-the-back pass from Sanders there to Barron, but no good, as the 21 squad is shooting 50% so far in the second half. A little bit less than 50 now, and Shaw is stripped on the rebound as Sanders will get it up and in. It's been a little bit of a tough go for the first action here virtually for Jalen Shaw.
It'll be interesting to see what his role is with this team. Does he step into the Amadi Ekpezi role and have, 10 minutes a game, give Oshun some rest, or is he going to be on the floor at the same time through stretches?
I believe we saw them both on the floor at the same time earlier on as Jalen Attaway lays it up and in. Both teams still shooting under 40% though for the game.
Both teams only 18 field goals made. You saw Attaway there, a nice blow by and finish.
Hagan guarded by Vasquez, and he'll shoot it over Alejandro and make it. Hagan with 16 points. A little bit of a surprise that he's putting up that much for this team, considering we only have 42 points out of them. Attaway with the fadeaway, no good. Jalen Shaw, he can't get the rebound to fall afterwards, but he'll head to the free throw line.
Foul there by Delmar Harad. As you're saying, Glenn Hagan, he's just such a solid role player. He's an 85 overall, so he would have been the second or third highest player on this 2021 team behind Lofton and Oshun. Averaged 14 points a game in 77.
Yeah, we've seen a great performance out of Essie Hollis. Almost had a double-double in the first half, 10 points, 9 boards. And Greg Sanders has been a little quieter, but we'll have to see what happens in the final stretch. Second free throw goes, 42-43, 26 left in the third part of this game as a timeout is called by Coach Statlin.
We got a good one. 13 and a half minutes left, 2-point game. And now we got some AC/DC, I believe. Walk This Way. Oh, Aerosmith, sorry.
Are these cheerleaders from 2021 or 1977?
Judging by what they're wearing, I will say they're modern-day cheerleaders, but they know how to dance to Aerosmith.
Would like to see how the Friars would deal with outfits like this in '77.
I want to see how that 1952 team deals with, Nelly Hot in here playing during timeouts.
That'll be a great clash of musical cultures. It'll be if you thought the scene, the Johnny B. Good scene in Back to the Future was crazy, that'll probably be even crazier.
Let's not show that music video to Bob Sassone.
Justin Winston with the layup, and that will tie it up. First tie since I believe the earlier part of the first half for the 21 squad. 42 apiece, 12 minutes and 49 seconds left.
See some of these 1977 guys wearing those old Converse. We had a lot of attention to detail in this one. All of our new guys wearing some Adidas shoes that they really wear in real life. So everything down to the shoes and the kicks are realistic.
The 1983 squad, I know, has all high socks like this and all Nikes. They wore Nikes that year. That was right when Nike was really starting to get going in the 70s with Phil Knight as Kyle Lofton gets into the lane but can't make the short layup.
Yeah, you remember, I'm sure everyone watching this probably watched The Last Dance. Michael Jordan had that Nike deal in, 84? So that 83 team, right when Nike was starting to take off a little bit. Before they got huge, but they were still one of the top shoe companies.
He didn't even want to go to Nike at first. He wanted to go to Adidas as Lofton throws it in, and it is stolen as he tried to connect with Vasquez, couldn't. Speaking of Adidas, the 2021 squad uniforms are by Adidas now.
Yeah, we've been with Adidas now for, I believe, 5 years, right? That 2016 team that we watched yesterday had those Nike jerseys. Then we switched to Adidas.
And a foul there for Sanders as he makes the tough leaning jumper, and Oshun is not happy with picking up his third foul. Sanders will head to the line.
Nice finish there by Sanders. Got knocked down.
As exclusively reported on SB Unfurled and Friends, the 2021 squad will probably not be wearing these uniforms as the school is looking to have entirely new uniforms.
yeah, we don't know what those will look like yet, so we had to go with our the ones we've seen for the last 4 years.
These are a very solid set of uniforms, though. We've used them. 2018 will also have these.
I do like these uniforms. Yeah, we got these in 2017.
Lofton with the free throw line jumper falls 47-44. About 11 minutes left here in the second half. Winner will play the 1961 Sweet 16 team, led by the Stith brothers.
Tom Stith, the only brother on that team, actually. Sam Stith had graduated. Could have had the Stith brothers if we went 1960, but we had to go 61 because of how good that team was.
Oh, Welch gets it to the bucket and the foul. Apologies with the Stith brothers. Only one was there. Sorry. I think it's because Sam Stith was drafted, right?
Yeah, Stith graduated in, I believe, he graduated before that. I think it was 1960 or 1959. So he won't be on. It was 1960. He won't be on the 1961 team, unfortunately. But that team was so great. They were ranked, in the top 5 throughout the year nationally, and had an All-American in Tom Stith, who's a 94, our second highest rated player.
Also had Fred Crawford, whose number's retired too.
Fred Crawford is a 90 overall, so that team's going to be really tough to deal with. Although after those top 2 or 3, Whitey Martin at point guard, there's a bit of a drop off.
What a move by Lofton into the lane, lays it up and in the first lead for the 21 squad since around 12 minutes left in the first half.
We got another
49,
good game.
47, another tight contest, but this is a lot different than the first game, where the 2016 squad won 102-92 over the 2012 squad. Of course, with this lack of three-point shooting, because it's 77 rules, that's probably a big factor in why it is lower scoring. Lofton into the lane, clock winding down, jumper does not fall on the step back at the free throw line, but the 21 squad clawing back at the under 10 media timeout to take the 2-point lead.
There you saw Justin Winston. He came out really hot and got this team back into it immediately. Sometimes you see these teams come out slow to start the second half, not 2021. Winston came out 2 quick buckets, and now they're up 2, and we get to see what I thought would be the assist of the game.
No surprise here. The alley-oop and the behind-the-back slam. Two-handed jam for friend of the SBU and Friends pod, Oshun Oshunyi.
And friend of Atlantic 10 2K,
the first tournament we did, yes, the Atlantic 10.
Yeah, the Atlantic 10 tournament.
A10 2K20, I believe.
Yeah.
Greg Sanders with a strip and steal on Jared English. He'll lay it up and in, and English fouls him. Greg Sanders with an impressive individual effort on that play with the strip, the steal, and the lay-in on the fast break.
Sanders now with a couple nice finishes through contact. Made that one getting Oshun's third foul, that one, and a fast break. And now he's starting to come alive a little bit.
Only 5 points for him in the first half, but it started to really pick it up here in the second. And he will convert the and one. The only way you can get a three-pointer in 1977. Are there any 77-era Olean sponsors that we can have for this game?
Boy, that's a good question. There are still a lot of good businesses there. I think Taste of Pizza was still around back in 1977.
How about Worth W. Smith? That's a safe one. We'll go with that one until you.
What about
John
Ash Cleaners? Were they? I think they might have been around back then.
It could have been. I would have to check that. Hollis gets it on the block, spins with a fadeaway, guarded by Lofton, and it will go in. 12 points for S.E. Hollis, as we're starting to see Greg Sanders take over a little bit more. Hollis had 10, I believe, in the first half, so first bucket there of the second half for him.
See Lofton out there with Delmar
Lofton,
on him.
ooh, almost crossed him up, but gave up the baseline to step back, and it does not fall. We know Kyle Lofton loves the mid-range, but maybe a little bit too much there.
You have to love it even more without the three-point line. Some people say it's an inefficient shot, but Lofton's so good at that.
Give it go. Oshun doesn't dunk. He was a little bit altered there, but still will lay it up and in. 52-51, 8-18 left to go in this game. Hagen into the lane, lays it up and in as well. 54-51. Hagen with 18 points now, leading the 77 squad. A little bit of a surprise there, I would have to say.
Yeah, Glenn Hagen, he can fill it up a little bit, but he's probably their third best player. He is their third best player, judging by these rankings we have.
English stepping back. A couple times they've been stepping back instead of taking the layup there. Interesting decision. Must be afraid of some height down low, Lofton and English. Sanders now with it up top over to Barron with 12 on the shot clock.
Yeah, you could see if 77 was taking those step backs with Oshun down low, but need to attack the basket a little bit more if you're 2021.
Shot clock winding down into Hollis, tightly guarded by Oshun, and the desperation shot close to the rim cannot fall. Attaway now setting up the half court, giving it to Lofton. Alejandro Vasquez. 5 on the shot clock now for Lofton, over to Oshun. Oshun will have to take the leaning runner there, no good. And it's still 54-51 as Hared is stripped by Lofton, and it will go over to the 2021 squad. Nice defense there by Lofton, a little bit of a size mismatch, and he was able to get the strip and get the ball back.
Delmar Harad will come out now, and Tim Waterman will come in. This will probably be the lineup they go with for the rest of the game. Barron, Hagen, Hollis, Greg Sanders, and Tim Waterman. They're up 3, 6:46 left.
We have a timeout on the floor, 6:46 left to go, 54-51. Winner of this game will take on the 1961 squad, which went to the Sweet 16 before lost to Wake Forest in a very controversial game.
Yeah, that was one of the best teams in the entire country. One of the best, of course, teams in Bona history with Tom Stiff. Very difficult matchup for whoever wins this going up against that team. But, hey, if you're 2021 and you have Oshun, you're definitely going to have a size advantage against that 2021 team. Maybe even a little more depth as well.
The Eraser.
Oshun, a nice rebound there and able to finish that one. He's not going to miss that. Seen some missed bunnies there, but Oshun corrals the Lofton mid-range miss, and he's able to put that one back in.
G.
Vasquez gets it back from Oshun. He'll get fouled. Can't get it to go, but Glenn Hagen fouls Alejandro Vasquez, and Vasquez will try to capitalize at the line. He's had some missed shots inside. Couldn't get that one to go, but he is headed to the charity stripe now as you see that replay.
Coach Schmidt, of course, is on several of these teams, 2012, 2016, 2018, and 21, so he's in a third of the tournament.
Yeah, he's going to be coaching against himself probably a couple times. You saw that last night. He's just, and that's a tip of the hat to the job he's done here and what he's been able to put together.
Oh my goodness, we have another Kyle Lofton on the bench situation. And crunch time, too. Must be getting 20 seconds of rest before he comes back in.
Very strange substitution there. We'll see what happens with that. But they're down 1, under 6 minutes left. And Vasquez, they got some subs coming back.
He's already coming back.
Yeah, he sat down for a minute. Now he's coming back in.
Very realistic as Attaway gets the pass in transition, lays it up and in another lead for 21 as they lead the NIT champs 57-56. 5:26 left to go. S.E. Hollis had a quiet second half. After 10 points, we'll get the turnaround jumper fading away. 14 now for the big man. getting the 77 squad the lead again. And it's stripped by Hagen. Glenn Hagen with 20 points and now a defensive performance like that. Elbow jumper no good, but S.E. Hollis with the rebound and stripped by Winston. Vasquez gets the ball. In transition, it will come out eventually to Attaway, who gets into the lane, and he is denied by Tim Waterman.
Waterman, the big man for 77, getting a nice big block there. And they still got that 1-point lead. Let's see if they can extend it a little bit here.
Waterman almost being double-teamed there. Over to Barron. 4 on the shot clock. Maybe trying to take advantage of a lack, but he's on by Oshuni. Maybe trying to take advantage of no Kyle Lofton, but trying to shoot over Oshuni is not something that can work out. 0 for 6 night for Jim Barron.
Tough shooting night for the future coach of the Bonnies.
And Rhode Island. And Canisius.
Unfortunately, yes.
Alejandro Vasquez with his new number 10 fires the deep shot, no good. Even in a game when there are no three-pointers, Alejandro Vasquez is going to shoot a 3 if he wants to. S.E. Hollis lays it up and in. 3-point lead now for the 77 squad.
2021, Schmidt still has 3 timeouts. There's under 4 minutes left, but maybe use one here or try to draw a foul or get a whistle because Lofton and Welch are still out there waiting to come in. There hasn't been a whistle yet.
Jalen Attaway with a nice spin move, though, and he'll lay it in.
Very nice spin move and finish. People should be pretty excited to watch Jalen Attaway. He's a very athletic two-way player, plays above the rim. He'll be a good addition to this team.
Glenn Hagen, a very tough shot there near the block, 62-59. I know some fans started falling in love with Jalen Attaway's antics on the sidelines after some 3 points and dunks last season since he had to sit out due to transferring.
He was the hype man on the bench for sure last year.
Oh, and there will be more hype men on the bench after seeing that dunk. What a slam on his putback. Jalen Attaway here in crunch time, starting to give some key minutes, 62-61 for the 77 NIT champions, leading the modern squad.
And now the
2:33 left.
Hype man on the bench now, Anthony Roberts, a transfer from Kent State, getting into that dunk.
No good for Hagen. Winston with a rebound. We have been waiting for a couple minutes for Kyle Lofton and Don Welch to come back in, but there's been no stoppage, no timeouts called. Schmidt loses 1 timeout since NBA rules makes you lose a timeout inside 3 minutes. 2:13 left to go. Winston into the lane will step back. No good. Oshun can't corral it. Waterman, who is outside, will get it. Inside the last 2 minutes, Vasquez with a steal there. Attaway into English. English gets up. No good, but his own rebound, and he will be fouled by S.E. Hollis. Jaron English will head to the free throw line for the lead.
And just as important, maybe, we get a whistle. So Lofton and Welch can come back in now. They were trying to sub in with 4 or 5 minutes left. Now under 2 minutes. Finally get to come back in. But Vasquez and Attaway played very good minutes there down the stretch to keep this team in it.
First shot goes in as Jaron English ties it up. Dom Welch, Kyle Lofton back in as Attaway and Vasquez. Attaway especially giving some good minutes, but Vasquez had an important steal too there.
Yes, he did.
As it's tied at 62. 1:52 left. English will convert the second free throw, and the 12-seeded 2021 Modern squad leads the 5-seeded NIT champions from 1977.
This team was very tough to seed. Didn't know what to do with them.
Ooh, Greg Sanders in the lane. A tough layup. He has 17 points. Only 5 in the first half. But with 12 in the second half, he's been important to keeping 77 now in the lead as we come up on 90 seconds left. Kyle Lofton from the free throw line, just inside the free throw line, nails the jumper. We are getting back and forth here. 65-64. 18 points on the night for Kyle Lofton.
Blue eye there and there. Kyle Loft, and that's why you need him back in this game.
Greg Sanders into the lane, and he'll blow by a couple defenders for that layup. 19 points now. Lofton and Sanders going back and forth. This is what you want to see, the all-time stars going back and forth.
Absolutely. This is why we did this tournament.
Kyle Lofton, oh, the nice kick into Oshun, and Oshuni lays it up and in, 67-66. Now we're inside 1 minute. Winner of this game takes on the 1961 Sweet 16 squad.
Back and forth, Lofton, Sanders, Oshun, Hollis. This is getting really good. Under a minute left now.
Tom Welch, great defense on Greg Sanders, but Hollis with the rebound on the shot, denied by Oshuni. Welch out in transition, 37 seconds left. Back to Justin Winston. He'll lay it up and in, and a timeout for Coach Satlin as the 21 Bonnies lead the 77 Brown Indians. Nice to 66 with 34.8 seconds left.
And this is not a one-possession game. There's no three-pointers. 35 seconds left. Shot clocks are at 24, so you need a quick bucket. Try to get a 2-for-1 if you're 77. This is getting good. We've had a lot of back and forth action, some late lead changes. Lofton coming back in and immediately starting to score.
Of course, you could get fouled and make an and one too. Make it a three-point play the old-fashioned way, because we are playing the old-fashioned rules. But who do you go to in this situation if you're Coach Satlin?
You got to go to Sanders. He's been on fire this half, up to I think 19 or 20 points. You see our player of the game, Oshuni, 12 points, 6 of 10 from the field. Some great defense inside, some block rebounds.
Hagan in the corner now with 28 to go. Back to Sanders, being tightly guarded by Dominic Welch. He'll get the screen from Waterman, popping from the elbow. It'll fall. Nice to 68. Greg Sanders, 3 key buckets here as a foul is called. Greg Sanders will have to foul for the first time as we are now in the bonus. I don't know what Coach Schmidt is upset about.
His sedation is worn off. He's finally up and screaming. That's what we want to see. Welch goes to the line. This team up 1, no three-point line, so he can make this a 2-possession game here. 17 seconds left.
First shot goes in for Welch from Cheektowaga. And the second shot falls, and another timeout. The final timeout for Coach Satlin as the Bonnies lead the Brown Indians by 3.
You're going to need another quick shot just like last time. Keep going to Sanders. He hit that nice mid-range jumper. Like I said, he has been phenomenal this second half after a slow start.
And if you aren't excited for this right now, you got to be excited for the T-shirt cannon breaking windows in Butler Gym. They're historic windows, and they're being shattered right now.
We had a pretty good budget. About 25% of it was spent on that T-shirt gun. Maybe not the best use of our budget, but we had to have a T-shirt gun.
So, did they have Community Bank three-point tees when there wasn't even a three-point line?
No, Community Bank three-point plays. Greg Sanders would have had a couple of those thrown into the crowd today.
I think that'd be more special than a three-point tee, because three-point plays are rarer than three-pointers, especially nowadays.
And smart if you're Community Bank. You get the advertisement. You don't have to make many shirts.
It's good planning. All right, we're back. 71-68, 17 seconds left. Winner will play the 61 Sweet 16 squad. Kicks it into Hollis there. Hollis with a nice move, spinning around. Jaron English, 71-70, 12 seconds left now. And Dominic Welch will get fouled once again by Greg Sanders. And they'll need a miss to possibly force overtime.
Welch hit both free throws just 6 game seconds ago. Let's see if he can do it again. These are 2 huge free throws to extend it out to a 3-point game.
The 77 squad has led for quite a bit of the second half, but the 21 squad stormed back a bit as Welch makes the first free throw. 72-70 once again. 77 rules are in effect, so that means there are no three-pointers. Welch goes in, on the second free throw, 73-70. That may seal it for the 77 squad. Sanders will throw a huge shot up. No good anyways. Oshuni with the rebound. Lofton is fouled. And Coach Schmidt feels another date with an historic team from 1961 as the Bonnies of 2021 in their first game together appear to be pulling off this win.
Just a tough game to win against this 1977 team with S.E. Hollis, Greg Sanders, Glenn Hagan played well. But man, that's a tough win for this new Bonnies team.
Second shot falls, 75-70, 2 seconds left. Desperation heat for Jim Barron doesn't matter. And the 2021 Modern squad knocks off the NIT champions 75-70 in our second game of the Bona Cup, our final game of the first round of the Butler Gym Regional. We will be heading in our next game between the 1952 and 2002 teams to the Olean Armory.
In your 2021, there you see Alejandro and Jalen Attaway and Dom Welch. You get S.E. Hollis and Greg Sanders, and then you come back and you have to play a week later Tom Stith and Fred Crawford. It's not going to get any easier for this team. So many great teams and players in this tournament, but they found a way to win from that 12 seed.
We saw 20-point performances out of both Sanders and Hollis for the 1977 squad. 22 rebounds for Oshuni, 20 points for Lofton, although a little bit inefficient for 9 for 26, but he was able to get the job done.
Yeah, 26 shots for Lofton. He tried putting the team on his back there. Got a lot of help from these guys. Winston had a solid game. Attaway made some big plays.
Jalen Attaway put his name on the map for Bonnie's fans with those 4 crucial points down the stretch.
And a nice putback dunk. We can go through the shot charts here and see some of our efficiencies and where these guys shot from. It's interesting. This shot chart looks so different than what you're used to with no 3-point. There's a 3-point line, but they don't count. So look at where these teams shoot from.
Definitely a different era of basketball. 18 points, 18 boards, I think, out of S.E. Hollis there.
Yeah, we said coming in, S.E. Hollis, their highest rated player. That year was his senior year. He averaged 22 points and 10 rebounds. So, more rebounds than his average, not as many points, but just a phenomenal game from him and Sanders and Hagan, really.
Taking a look at the stats from the overall game, we have the 1977 team actually shot better and had more assists and better at the free throw line. But the 2021 squad actually got to the free throw line 18 times in the second half. That was crucial. They really pushed it down low.
Yeah, the first half, Jalen Shaw was the only one to get to the line. Took 2 free throws. They come back. He was 0 for 2, and they're 15 of 18 in the second half alone. They started getting to the line. Did Schmidt pay off these refs at halftime?
We don't know, especially with inflation from 2021. 1977, that money would be worth quite a bit.
Man, I can't believe that. That's crazy. 15 of 18 in the second half alone. So many points in the paint there. 54 out of their 75 points were in the paint.
And look at the offensive rebounding, 17-7 in favor of the Modern squad. That definitely shows that the height played a role.
Yeah, and that's what happens when Oshun, 77's biggest guy is Waterman at 6'9". You have Oshun down there, 6'10".
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. The next game is tomorrow at 8 p.m. here on YouTube. Follow SB Unfurled on Twitter and on YouTube to get all the updates on the 2020 Bona Cup. It'll be the 1952 squad and the 2002 squad facing off at the Olean Armory. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, I saw the video ran out.
Yeah, so you can